Hello, my name's Alan. I am the Armchair Detective. When I called it that all those years ago, 7, 8 years ago.
In this image, you might see the so bad. He's gone for a blue room here, an empty blue room, and you can see the watermark for the company that he's ripped it off Google from. It says slide door or something. Slides door. Oh, thank you. You see, there's watermarks behind his shoulder here. Isn't that right, Minky? Yeah. Let's put it in 720p, the maximum quality that Alan streams at. Alright, no point in whinging, I'm right here. I know.
I didn't realise that it become much maligned word, armchair. Oh, those armchair detectives.
You didn't realise it would become maligned. Listen, Alan, you didn't create it. It was just a term. Armchair detective has been around as a terminology long before you stole it and used it for your channel.
At the time, I thought it was a good name.
It's not a good name because it's non-identifiable as you. You can't copyright it. You can't trademark it. It's not even directly identifiable as you. I'm sure. I mean, now I search armchair detective, I get it up on my thing. But if I go Google and just type armchair detective, then what I'm going to get is obviously I've got Alan's stuff because I've been searching for it a lot, haven't I? But what you really, there's a TV series, there's a petition to shut him down. But it's it's a TV series from 1949. The BBC have got a thing about armchair detectives. It was a show they did. The Irish Times talks about armchair detectives. It's just a terminology. You're just going to get loads of other bullshit. It's hard for you to get top of the Google if you're giving yourself a name that is generic.
I'm thinking, armchair detective is a bit like being called an estate agent, isn't it? You're an armchair detective, an estate agent, you know?
Because people used to make jokes about estate agents in the 80s, I think, but I don't think that's still the case.
Anyway, I guess we're getting old, some of us. You baby boomers, right? Getting a bit old now. I'm trying to make sense of social media. The story today, right? I will be doing the murders, right, in a minute.
You'll be doing the murders. You'll be doing the murders. I have to be quiet because I'm doing this one quite late at night, but you'll be doing the murders, Alan.
That's New York, right? I love New York. Never been. Where am I going? Right. Story today in my paper. I'm reading the paper. Disney. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, right? Of course, I know that when I was a kid. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So,
okay.
My young brain said when I was 10.
Alan is both dopey, grumpy. If Alan was the dwarves, it'd be dopey, grumpy, boring. What are the other dwarves? Dopey, grumpy, boring. In chat, if you're not watching right now, and you might be watching this on a premiere, or you might just be watching it with the comments. I want to hear your choices for dwarf names for Alan. If he was one of the dwarfs, who would he be? Dopey, grumpy, boring? Maybe you could invent your own. What dwarf name would you give to Alan in the Snow White sense? Sneezy was one of them, wasn't he?
I'm going to the cinema to see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. What does that mean to 10-year-old AD, analytical mind? Snow White.
10-year-old AD's analytical mind.
That's a princess. Though it wasn't, I guess. A princess that was pure. And she never saw the sun, and she was snow white complexion.
Yeah, so, that is actually a Western, that's a racist Western perception of beauty. To not have to see the sun, it also comes from I think there's in the Indian, I mean, every culture will have different perspectives on this, but in the Indian continent, I believe that in India, if you are a higher caste, you don't have to do outdoor work, so you're indoors, so you don't get the sun on you, and there you would, like the higher, I say higher, social hierarchy of the past, the more royal and higher, the lesser you are out in the sun, and that's a Western thing as well, but so there is like a historical context of that being perceived as a beauty standard because of that, but it's based on racism and class. classism from the past. And these days we don't really, not having any sun on your skin and being pure white like that is a historical remnant that people don't really worry about, maybe.
Never saw the sun.
Because it could be considered kind of racist, couldn't it? To be like, the whiter you are, the more attractive you are.
And she was Snow White complexion. So we call her Snow White. Black hair, white flesh.
Yeah.
Snow White.
It wasn't because of the Disney film that you went to see, though, Alan. This was because of... Wasn't Snow White... Was she a Grimm's fairy tale or 19th century Brothers Grimm? Yeah, okay. She was 19th century collection of fairy tales written by the Brothers Grimm. So these are very old ideas. Not incredibly old, but very old, from the 1812s. Sneewittchen, Snow White, Sneewittchen. Interesting. Alan's attributing it to Disney, but, got too many windows. More windows than Buckingham Palace, mate. We're listening to the waves. And we're going to do that later. We've got this. Go on, Alan. Do go on.
And the 7 dwarfs. Now, I would think that was short people. 7 dwarfs, right? That was then. This is now. They're making Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, a remake, right?
Oh, God, not this. Not this. Like, there's all these news stories about it because they're not fucking dwarfs anymore. They've remade Snow White and they've made it modern so that you could... Because racists are angry. So you can't be racist. Or, it's too politically correct now. They're not dwarves now. They're just people with different... I mean, that one's black. You know what I mean? Like, what's your point? They've had a retelling of the Snow... In fact, this is probably more close to what the original story would have... Like they wouldn't have been necessary. In some ways, I can't even start. I'm not here to do a social analysis of the remake of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs for the modern cinematic audience. I'm not here for that. I know that Disney recently have been presenting their cast in a different way. And they had the Little Mermaid, didn't they, recently? And she wasn't as white as she used to be. And look, Peter Dinklage is angry, apparently. Blasted Disney for not using actual dwarves for Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. And he is a dwarf, so that proves it. I mean, it just seems like a fuss over nothing, because there have been many cinematic interpretations of Snow White, and it's nice to see a different one. And if you don't like it, don't watch the new Snow White. Fuck off. That's the way I feel about it. You don't even see the film. You haven't given it a chance. It's just pseudo right-wing aggravation to create dramatic conversations about how the world isn't like it used to be and you feel out of control and the fucking woke people are winning. Look, Piers Morgan's angry about it, so that tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? It's a film. Lighten up.
I saw a picture of the cast. Yeah. Snow White's darker than me. She's got a tan more than me. She's now Spanish girl doing it, right?
And
she's not got Snow White flesh. She's
okay.
got tan flesh, right? And then I go, well, where's these 7 dwarfs? And I looked at them and I saw, well, there's a black person, and there's a Chinese person, and there's a tall guy, and there's a short guy, and there's a rotund person, and there's a thin person. They're not 7 dwarfs at all. They're representing the world's population now in these woke times.
Woke times. Is this going to be word for word what Piers said about this?
But you, James,
so
you want to stop Dylan getting a role in a Hollywood film?
I am not going to get into an attack on a dwarf.
You don't want a dwarf actor to land the role.
I do, actually.
He's going on about dwarf actors. I've got a feeling Alan is just going to be parroting Piers Morgan's opinions on... it just feels like Alan's lifted this from somewhere else, because suddenly he's got an opinion on something out of fucking nowhere about nothing to do with his content. And his opinion is backward, and I've said recently he's doing these dog whistles to some of his audience he thinks are older, so they don't like this new world, and they don't like the inclusion and the inclusivity. We did this the other day, I'll bring it up again. We'll play this one more time because this is the crux of it for me. This just really says it all.
Wokeism. Can I just say, that gets on my fucking nerves. They're calling you woke if you call out bad things, basically. If you're not racist, you're woke. If you're not homophobic, oh, you're woke. Be woke, kids. Be woke. Be wide awake. And fucking call it out.
So I'm happy with that as my,
Homophobic.
that, she better represents my
You're
opinion
woke.
than I could, because she eloquently and very plainly states what I feel in my heart about that. So in the counter argument, you've got people who don't feel represented that well on the internet because there's more people that are not like us. We have to go onto these other websites to watch Alex Jones now. Like, I'm not dissing at Alex Jones because he's got a particular American political thing going on, but do you know what I mean? Like the Piers Morgan angle. Alan is now playing up the Piers Morgan angle because he thinks that's going to appeal to his audience and that they're a different audience to me. So when I say this sort of stuff and align myself with Kathy Burke, there's another reason we're going to be, and they're going to stay with Alan and not watch me. And it's a manipulation into a strange. Alan is trying to appeal to groups on the internet subversively, and the groups he's trying to appeal to are the anti-woke, whatever you'd call them. I'm not going to throw loads of names around, but the people who are angry that Snow White has now got a black dwarf.
Snow White's no longer Snow White, and the seven dwarfs are no longer dwarfs. They're the population of the world. Because in this woke society, you can't have dwarfs, can you? So what happens to all those dwarfs?
One of them was literally a dwarf. Fuck off that joke, like. One of them is literally a dwarf. Like, the story translates well. You don't have to be just pure white in flesh to do a Snow White story. Films don't have to be the same film repeated. Like, imagine if they remade it fucking frame for frame with actors. Whilst it might be interesting and fun, and a lot of people would like, wow, that's remade frame for frame, like, with actors. Like, it's just the same film then, isn't it? Like, this is someone else's retelling. I feel quite actually angry about his faux outrage that he's just ripped off Piers Morgan. What Alan's doing is shit.
Dwarfs then that have been waiting all their lives for the biggest part of their life. I want to be an Oompa Loompa, or I want to be the guy waiting. You can't have dwarfs, can you? So what happens to all those dwarfs then that have been waiting all their lives for the biggest part of their life?
That was just what Piers Morgan was saying. They can go and play other parts, Alan. Like, for example, in Casualty, they could play a nurse or a doctor because they're just people who can play any part in any theatrical production. One of them could be Hamlet, but Hamlet's not a dwarf, but it's acting, and one of them can be Hamlet. And, like, one of them, one of us, a person. Like, just because in today's modern age there are fewer stereotypical dwarf roles, I can't believe he says what he's about to say now.
Be an Oompa Loompa.
An Oompa Loompa. Thank God for the past, when people who were born as a dwarf, dwarfism's a real thing, when people were born like that, they could get a job in Hollywood as an Oompa Loompa. Now, there's no Oompa Loompas, so they might as well just go and fucking work in Burger King. Well, they're not even tall enough to get to the fucking burger flipping thing, are they? So what are they going to be good for? Might as well just throw them in the street. Like, what do you want about? People can do anything. If you are born with dwarfism, you can be the lead role in a Hollywood movie, and it doesn't have to be a movie about dwarfs. Like, welcome to the modern world, Alan. One day, it's like, people would argue, someone with dwarfism could play James Bond, and I wouldn't be cross. Like, it just... You can't have a dwarf playing James Bond, can you not? Can a dwarf not work in the Secret Service now? Like, it's just the most backward, arseholey thing that I've ever fucking heard in my life. It's the most backward, arseholey thing I've ever heard in my life. There's a role coming up for a new soap opera. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to be someone that works in the cafe there. We're looking for someone with a regional accent. Oh, I've got that. Okay, I'll go to the audition. Oh, you didn't tell us you would be a dwarf. No, I didn't, because I don't have to, because I'm just auditioning for the part of person who works in cafe, and you didn't specify they needed to not be a dwarf. So how about I work in the cafe and I'm a dwarf, and that's that. And they'll be like, okay, yeah. In fact, they wouldn't have that conversation, would they? Because they'd just be like, good, okay, here, read. And they'd read, and if they were good at the role, we'll have them. They're good. I like that. They inhabit the role well. Like, fucking hell, Alan. Next, you'll be saying that people in wheelchairs can't, like, you know, work in the post office. What are you saying, Alan? The short people, I mean, he's got it off Piers Morgan, but it's a terrible take. The short people have got no jobs in Hollywood because now the dwarves have gone out as Snow White. You could have been an Oompa Loompa, but now you're fucked.
So what happens to all those dwarfs then that have been waiting all their lives for the biggest part of their life? I want to be an Oompa Loompa, or I want to be the guy from Game of Thrones, or I want to be one of the 7 dwarfs.
They're your roles. You could be the guy in Game of Thrones, well, that's taken. He's dead now anyway, isn't he? The Game of Thrones is finished. But you could be the guy from the Game of Thrones. You could be an Oompa Loompa, or you could have been one of the 7 dwarves, and they've taken that from you. So if anything, right, those people should be on Alan's side.
Or I want to be the guy from Game of Thrones, or I want to be one of the 7 dwarfs. Those guys have been waiting all their lives for this part, and their agents go, 7 dwarfs, we'll send you for the part, Disney. And you go along there, and there's no dwarfs there.
Sorry if you can hear my tummy rumbling.
They waited all their life for that, but now you haven't got to be a dwarf to portray a dwarf anymore. No.
It's not that, Alan. It's that the part doesn't require them to be dwarves. It's that you can portray Snow White without people being, like... I don't even... The part is open to people who want to portray this band of social outcasts, maybe. And they don't have to be dwarfs. So...
You go along there, and there's no dwarfs there. They waited all their life for that, but now you haven't got to be a dwarf to portray a dwarf anymore.
It's the other way around, isn't it? It's you don't have to not be a dwarf to portray other parts. It's that anyone can play all the different parts.
And I sort of felt sorry for those dwarf actors. Because of political correctness, they haven't got a job anymore.
It's fucking ridiculous. Back in Shakespeare's time, a woman wouldn't be allowed to act, so a man would go on with a straw wig and pretend to be a woman, and a woman wouldn't be able to act. What does that mean? What does that mean? It's irrelevant. What do you mean, Alan? It's irrelevant.
And I'm thinking,
you didn't hear
I'm
my
getting
tummy,
too old
that's
for
all right
this.
then. I vegan cheese sandwich, yeah, but it's the middle of the night. You know, I should have my breakfast in about 4 hours. So, really, if my tummy's rumbly, it's not really relevant, I suppose.
Things have changed beyond all recognition, guys. Well, I'm glad I'm here talking to you tonight, because I know that you people actually watch me because you like me, and you're generally 55 years old and above.
See, I told
Was
you.
anybody here-
I told you it's about the demographic. He's trying to play to the audience, mistakenly thinking that because you're 55 years and older, you'll also be racist and backward.
In their 20s, I'll be shocked. Anybody in their 30s, a kid.
No, they're not.
Most of you are 40, 50, 60, let's face it. That's way the demographics, right? But good evening anyway. I just fed up with them messing with stuff from my childhood. Bad
Torchy, the battery boy.
black sheep. I can't do that.
Bye black sheep. I don't know if it's can't do it or people had probably just chosen. I mean, people are going to be like, oh, it's bad, bye black sheep. You can't do that anymore. But like, if you've got no, it's easier just to sanitize that out. I mean, all these things have been sanitized over the years. Ring of Roses was about the fucking plague, but they sing about roses, you know. Sanitize it out so that you don't have a class of people where someone feels like vilified or bullied because of a strange old nursery rhyme. Like, anyway. It's 5 a.m, so maybe breakfast time, yeah. I'll tell you what I would consider right now is I would consider going for one of those, like, for once in my life, I might consider getting takeaway food in the morning. You know, getting like a breakfast waffles or something. I don't know if they do vegan ones, but, you know, something that I can't knock up in my kitchen very easily, just for a sort of syrupy treat. But let's get through this first.
Enough. Maybe, like, we have our certain era and that's it, right? So I'm here now with people from my era.
No, it's not that, Alan. You move through all the eras and you either choose to come along with the times or you stay stunted.
So I can talk to people from my era. Do you like my blue room? This is my blue room.
I've got a lot of people from Alan's era that watch my shows. It's not about that. We're all in the same era. We're all in the now. I speak to people from all different generations. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous, Alan, what you just said.
Last night I had my cream room on it.
Cream room. Your cream room. That sounds nice. Your cream room.
Do you like my blue room? This is my...
It's copyright, Alan. It's got branded watermarks all over it.
Blue room. Last night I had my cream room on it. I haven't got a Mr. Grey room yet.
A Mr. Grey room. Mr. Dorian Gray with your telltale heart, or your painting of Dorian Gray up in the attic. Sorry, the telltale heart's from another Edgar Allan Poe, isn't it? Not got your picture of Dorian Gray in the attic, no. But you've got a new image that you've ripped off Google as a background. So that proves that you don't have a black room with black bed and black walls and a black brick wall. And
last night I had my cream room on it. I haven't got...
London Bridge is falling down. I think that was also about people dying. I think it's about the plague as well. The bridge would collapse unless the body of a human sacrifice was buried in its foundations. What are you on about? It details with the dilapidation of London Bridge and attempts, realistic or fanciful, to repair it. Origins. I don't know. Child sacrifice. I don't think it's child sacrifice. Right, I don't want to look into it anymore. If it's about child sacrifice, I don't like it anymore.
I haven't got a Mr. Grey room yet. I haven't got a black room. So I wanted to talk to you before we start. I'm going to be here a long time tonight. I am. Because I've taken, on unheard of, I think I've had 4 nights off out of 5. Yeah. You may not have noticed it, but due to pressures...
So he's suffered financially, so he needs to be on the internet.
I've had 4 nights off out of 5. To clear my head and think about the future. I know I've only got a short future, but I've still got to look to the future, haven't I?
Maybe stop doing this rubbish on the internet then, Alan.
We can all dream. Because without hope, ladies and gentlemen, what is there without hope? There's nothing without hope, is there?
It's a bit of a strange message, Alan, isn't it? After all of your constant barrage of vitriol and miserly behaviour, interspersed with conversational dramatics about murder.
If you were bereft of hope, you'd be depressed, wouldn't you? So I'm hoping for better times. I'm hoping for better times for myself and for you, and especially for my spanners who had to go through the mill the last 2 weeks with this.
Because you've got them working hard, eh?
I can't swear, can I?
You can.
S-show that's been going all around me. And I just wanted to do a little chat, if you don't mind, before the show. Just a general. We're going to be here for a long time tonight. I'm not doing Patreon tonight, but I'm going to be with you for about 3 hours. I don't know why, I just feel that way. If that's all right with you.
It was 2 hours.
It will be, of course, going to the Suffolk County murders of Rex Herman from the grand jury. That's the main part of the show. But first of all, I want to talk to you as friends. I want to talk to you as friends, Romans, countrymen. I'm not a drunk. I drink.
It's brilliant. Friends, Romans, countrymen. He doesn't understand, but some might, about Mark Antony's speech and Brutus being a noble man. Some people might. It's funny that you should reference that. And then he's got the bottle here. Because obviously Brutus is a noble man. I come to bury Caesar, not praise him. Brutus is a noble man. Brutus is not a drunk. Brutus drinks from this bottle all the time. Of course, you never see Caesar take a sip of wine, do you? You never see Caesar drink from any sort of alcoholic beverage or consider him to be drunk, because Caesar gave up drinking a long time ago. But Brutus, who sometimes likes a drink and has been in that video saving that money from the change to buy the drinks, Brutus is a noble man, and Brutus doesn't drink alcohol because Brutus has got this bottle. Yeah.
Water. The reason I drink water is because I have acute pancreatitis. And if I drink booze, like this much, this was gin, right? the next day, all the bad stuff from alcohol, and there's bad stuff in alcohol, would, because I haven't got a proper pancreas.
He hasn't got a proper pancreas now. This is news. Of course, you could just mix some gin into that bottle, couldn't you? And then just drink it as a mixer. So you wouldn't be drinking it pure, would you?
Seep through to my body.
Yeah, this is yesterday's live stream. We're on a live stream now from yesterday. Just trying to get through it because today that's coming up, of course, really should be this one, shouldn't it? So, and I've got to get these reacted to and uploaded to the. I'm up in the middle of the night anyway. Might as well do it.
And my arms and legs would feel like weights, and I'd feel all the.
Is that what's going on with your arms? Is this these what we say the ham hands? You know, is that what's happening, Alan?
Enzymes in alcohol. So I know it's bad for you, alcohol. But if you got
enzymes,
and I feel all the enzymes in alcohol. So I know
enzymes.
It's bad for you, alcohol. But if you got pancreatitis, your body tells you how bad alcohol is instead of just having a headache.
Pancreatitis.
So what I'm saying is, people will tell you I'm a drunk, right?
No, I didn't say that. I said that last night on your stream, you exhibited many. Like, if I was a policeman, I'd pulled you over. I would have said, "Can you step out of the car, sir? Have you been drinking tonight?" And whatever you said, I'd have gone, "Well, can you blow into this?" Like, I would have seen the effects of alcohol upon you. So it might not have been that you were drunk. Maybe you had a bad bang to the head. But definitely, Alan, you were slurring your words. You were more boisterous. You were more aggressive. And it seemed that you were putting on a show of bravado. And when people want to show some bravado, sometimes they like to drink.
But what I'm saying is, you can't believe what people say on YouTube.
Well, not when you're saying it, can you? Because you constantly lie.
But what I'm saying is, you can't believe what people say on YouTube. You have to take it with a pinch of salt, because
you just said you weren't drunk, so I had to take that with a pinch of salt. Maybe a little lick of the lime and some tequila. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
People saying to you that I'm drunk don't know me at all. They've never met me.
No. The police have never met people and they assume they're drunk. There's lots of people that you see that you think they're drunk and you've never met them. Like, if I see a tramp in the street and he's like, right, yeah, fucking McCann's this and fucking Chris, what's that? And like going, I think he might be drunk. You know, it's not beyond my powers of deduction to make an assumption about your state of impairment through alcohol, is it? Strange for an armchair detective to be asserting that you can't make inferences from people's behaviour.
Oh, because the people saying to you that I'm drunk don't know me at all. They've never met me. They don't know what I do at all. They just go, how can we insult him? Well, let's say he's drunk to start with.
That's not what happened. You looked like you were drunk because you were slurring your words.
Well, he doesn't drink. Oh, well. Occasionally I have a glass of wine.
No, right. I don't drink. I don't lie. But occasionally I have a glass of wine and sometimes tell a lie. Like, what the fuck are you on about? I don't drink, but occasionally I do drink. So you'd say that you do drink then, would you? Like, if we're filling in this form, imagine having to fill in a fucking form with Alan. Like, so do you drink? No, I don't at all. Not at all. Okay, I've pressed cross. But occasionally, I've already put it in. I've crossed it. I have to rub that out now. What were you saying? Occasionally I have a glass. So I just put you down for one glass of wine. Okay.
Insult him. Well, let's say he's drunk to start with. Well, he doesn't drink. Oh, well. Occasionally I have a glass of wine. Occasionally I have a pint of beer.
Oh, and a pint of beer as well.
Occasionally. But that's not the point.
How occasionally? Well, just, you know, on the occasion that there should be a reason for me to be, you know, like Wimbledon recently. I took 3 days off and sat on the sofa and got really pissed, for example. Like an occasion, like it's a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday, or, you know, just one for the Monday evening because, God, I still got a headache. You know, occasionally.
My point is how bad social media. It's a great double-edged sword. I can look up any record.
Alan is on social media right now talking about this, bear in mind. This is one that really aggravates me when people critique social media in general and utilise social media to put their critique across. I think that's so fucking ridiculous because it undermines their entire argument. If social media is so bad, how can you use it to create such good? Why don't you just fucking close down your channel, you spouting stuff into the social media world?
Ex-DJ. I can look up any record in the world.
Ex-DJ.
I can look up any record. Ex-DJ. I can look up any record in the world and listen to it. I love it.
Brilliant. So why'd you pay for Smule?
All in this little laptop is every record ever made.
Yes.
Imagine that, right? When we were 20.
It's not in the laptop, Alan. It's on the internet. stored in servers all around the world. Different people own different pieces. Maybe not every piece of music is on there, but I understand what you're saying.
If I said to you, you will have a machine, see that jukebox in the corner? That's nothing. You would have the jukebox with every record that's ever been made.
Like, this conversation could have been had many years ago when they... I suppose the iPod is the turning point for this, really, isn't it? You'd say iPod, the turning point. It's discontinued. The iPod is now discontinued. 21 years ago they released the iPod. I know it makes us all feel a bit old, right? But 21 years ago they released the iPod. So Alan's current rant, is about 20 years out of date.
Give or take. At your fingertips. No, said my friend. No, yeah. And how much is it to play a tune on this fantastic jukebox that has every record ever made? I can play Eddie Cochran, I can play Frank Sinatra.
Eddie Cochran, Frank Sinatra.
I can play anything.
Anything.
How much does it cost to play a tune?
It's nothing. Well, it's VIP $19.99 a month on Smule.
Here's the thing.
All the chicken you can
It
eat.
doesn't cost anything.
We need to get our
Nothing.
pictures
No.
up, don't we?
It's free.
It's free.
Well, how does that work then? How do they get any money? Don't worry about it. It's a complicated story. But for you, it's free.
How does that work? It's don't worry about that aspect of it. I can't really explain it, so just don't worry about that aspect. Yeah, I've still got 2 iPods upstairs. Yeah, I mean, they don't work, but I've still got them.
And they won't believe me, will they? But also, people will be able to look into your lives. I'm talking to my little friend Billy, okay? Billy knows.
No one is able to look into your life today unless you expose yourself on the internet. This is weird. Carry on.
No mates, my friend. Because I haven't got any friends. I've just got Billy No Mates. Billy No Mates,
True that.
in the future, you will be able to look up my name and see all my family, where I go on holiday, how old I am, what I do for a job.
No. Not unless you publish it all on the internet, you won't.
Where I'm tracked to, what hotel I'm in, everything. You'll know everything about me.
That hotel thing is referring to the Martin Dean catch where Alan said he was going on his poker holiday to a particular place. And when you look on the internet, there's only one hotel that's offering packages for the poker holidays. So they assumed he was there, and then he was there. It's not like it's like some sort of cyber stalker hacker group following you around with, like, you know, tags on your luggage. It's just that it's really obvious where you're going because you said it on the internet.
And Billy No Mate says, I don't want to. I don't want to know everything about anybody. I'd rather not know anything about you, Alan. Yeah, I say, well, actually, no, I quite like it. I got this thing called Facebook, and I put things up, and
Facebook now?
every time I get a new friend, I get excited. I got 3,000 friends.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, but they know all about you, Alan. I say, yeah, I know.
With your friends, it's okay. Like, tell you what's interesting. It's okay on Facebook. The whole point of that social network was to share information with your friends. And you know what? It's okay for my friends to know all about me. Do you know what I mean? Like, my friends, I'm quite happy for them to know all about me.
But I liked it, and I liked Facebook to start. We all liked Facebook to start.
But you did some really dodgy shit, didn't you, Alan? You did some really dodgy shit, and people found out about that. So then you had to come off there for doing the weird shit.
Now we hate it.
Now you hate it because
Now we
they
hate
found out all about you.
Now we're all closing down our Facebook.
We're all closing down on Facebook. Quite a lot of people have migrated off Facebook over the last few years, yeah. It has become a privacy concern. Quite a lot of them were naive in the first... the one I'm always surprised about is putting up too many pictures of your kids on the internet and then being like, oh, no, privacy concerns. Well, like, if you upload them all to the internet, then they're going to be privacy concerns. But, you know, a lot of people did use it. A lot of people migrate away from it. And that's always going to be the case. Like, we're not on MySpace anymore, are we? We don't use AOL. So it's going to continue to have this evolving... the online space is going to continue to evolve, and the people that use it are going to continue to have different feelings, trends, places that they use it. It doesn't mean that we've stopped being social. It just means that Facebook itself has stopped being the most popular app, and that is a generational shift as well. There's still quite a lot of older people on Facebook, but younger people, when they start on social media, don't want to be on the same Facebook as their parents, do they? Because my mom's on Facebook, why would I want to also be on Facebook? So mom can look at me. So they go on like Instagram, or TikTok is probably the best example of this, isn't it? It's much more a generational, like I would say under 30s on TikTok. I know that Michael Barrymore's on there now. What the fuck's he doing on there? I don't know, but you see what I say about it. So I don't have a TikTok. I've got an account on TikTok, so I could look at TikTok, but I don't feel like it's the place that I would consider making content as a, I'm a content creator. It might say, oh, why you don't make TikTok? TikTok's really big, but that's the domain of a different generation, and they've got their own sort of cinematic language, transitions, music, dancing, and it's not really me. So I'm happy enough where I am. But yeah, I kind of agree with the point that people have migrated off Facebook. It's interesting in a way, isn't it? It's interesting.
Going incognito, don't tell them nothing. I don't really want to see what my friend's having for dinner.
Well, then don't look at your Facebook, or unfollow them, or whatever.
Or which pub they're going to tonight.
Why don't you want to go with them?
Or them pretending their marriage is fantastic and it's not. I don't want to see all that. I don't want to know about all that. And in fact,
Pretending their marriage is fantastic when it's not. Was that a Nicola Bully comment, or is that just a generalised thing that he thinks that people do on Facebook?
I don't want to know your private life.
Okay.
I want to know that you're here to have a group therapy of talking to each other and being part of a community.
Wow. Wow. He wants people in his chat to feel they've got like a group therapy community, so they feel dependent on the group therapy community and can't leave. That's part of the narcissism corruption here. It's almost like a cult. That is the cult of AD. I mean, I really care about our community, as some of you in chat like full well know. Yeah, I don't really think of it as like your group therapy dependency sessions. I just think it's incredible that there's a space there that, you know, those people have chosen to occupy and share with each other. Yeah, it's always open for Alan's people if they want to discard Alan's crappy community and join ours. They always can. There's no financial, you know, don't have to pay me or become a member or anything. You can just join the Discord
Without any fear. And that's why I started my channel. But over the years, yeah, we got a great community, but there's others out there that haven't got your spirit. They've got a black heart. And they enjoy hating people.
It's not that I enjoy this, really. I mean, we have a lot of fun ripping the piss out of Alan. We do, because he's a lol cow. He's an idiot, and we laugh at it. It's like comedy. So there's that. But I don't enjoy hating people. Earlier on, you allied yourself with the people who are angry that Snow White is not white enough and that she's too dark. So I'd put that in the hate group, and I'd say what I do is not that. You're nearly committing a hate crime on the internet, and I'm not. Big ups to Theme.
Because they're not happy with their own lives. I'm telling you the truth. You can't, forget me, you can't have a channel and make hate videos about somebody every day of your life if you're a happy person.
Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. There's fucking loads of them on the internet. You should hear the laughs that we have in that being said. You absolutely can. This is a source of comedy. It's like saying you can't watch Love Island and be a happy person, or you can't watch like what's one that people more go on about, like Big Brother and stuff like that, you know, everyone's got an opinion and stuff. Like, there's a lot of arguing going on Coronation Street. It just, so what? It's just content and comedy and analysis, psychological analysis. You can do this and be happy, Alan. You certainly can. A good example earlier was when Alan was angry about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I was happy about it. There's an example. Like, so we've already covered that.
Think about that. If you're a happy person, you can't degrade another human being every night of your life, because sometimes
The hypocrisy is strong with this one.
8 hours at a go, 60 hours a week.
You can't do 8 hours a go.
Hating on one
I
person,
don't know if I do 60 hours a week on you, Alan.
can you? And be happy, can you? Think about
Look at
that.
me smiling.
It's impossible.
Look at the
Whereas I like to
difference.
think that, yeah, we do discuss murder, but I'm hopefully that I do it in such a way that, without being rude, I like to have some humour in life as well.
You do murders with humour. That's good then. I mean,
I know a lot of police officers, and crematorium workers and all sorts of nurses and doctors.
You know, crematorium workers. I don't know if you do know all police officers and doctors and nurses. Strange that you threw crematorium workers in there, but yeah, do continue.
I know a lot of police officers and crematorium workers and all sorts of nurses and doctors who deal with death every day of their life.
What?
They're the happiest people I know.
They're the happiest people you know. It's almost like there's some sort of correlation then, isn't there? Maybe I should start dealing with death every day of my life and I'd be happier. Although I know from personal experience that faced with grief and tragedy, and when I started to research a piece for a true crime thing I did, it didn't make me happier. It was the opposite. And having a laugh and messing about, having some fun, not taking myself so seriously, that is actually quite fun. This is my B-side channel, where the A-side channel can be serious quite a lot. And we do still have a lot of fun over there. I need to focus. I need to feel right to do the good content and focus on it. But I'm really lucky and grateful that I've still got this B-side channel, I've got the Clippies channel, I've got the Twitch. I mean, we're on the Twitch stream right now. So I've got these other arms to my thing that I do, and it's like allows me to be myself in the different ways. It's pretty incredible what Alan's saying there, that you can't be happy.
And doctors who deal with death every day of their life.
But dealing with death every day of their life is in some way, well, I don't know what he's about to say now, really. Like, is he going to say that it's... it can't be that dealing with death every day of your life causes happiness. Go on then. Please enlighten me, Alan.
And crematorium workers and all sorts of nurses and doctors who deal with death every day of their life. They're the happiest people I know.
They're the happiest people you know.
They have to be. They're faced with the end of the line. Death. That we all have to face one day. But they're faced with it every day. And do you know what they do about death? They laugh at it.
They laugh at it. Although sometimes they're pretty respectful, from what I could see. There was no laughing going on at my nan's funeral from the crematorium people. They didn't pop any jokes.
They're faced with it every day. But do you know what they do about death? They laugh at it.
Like in the hospital where that nurse has to come in the room and you're sat in the room and they say, listen, I'm afraid to tell you, and they go through that conversation. And then at the end they say, but I did a joke earlier about a pirate going into a bar. Do you want to hear it? Doesn't happen really often. I understand what Alan's trying to point towards is that you've got to have a sense of humour to get you through these times, but quite often people who deal with these things day to day, they're left with a sense of trauma, and it's not just a sense of humour that gets them through, but a sense of fucking therapy. They have to go to therapy because you can have post-traumatic stress from all this stuff. It's not as simple as people deal with this shit, they laugh it off and they get on with it. That attitude is what leads to deep-seated trauma that you can't deal with because you're expected just to laugh it off and get on with it. So I don't think that's fair on those people that do those jobs, and I think it means that Alan really has a misunderstanding of how people are inside. Okay, you might meet someone on the street and say, oh, where do you work? The crematorium. Maybe he's got a friend that works at the crematorium that's got a really weird sense of humour. But in the main, you might have a laugh and a conversation with someone, but then they have to go home and deal with their thoughts and feelings after their day's work. So I don't know if Alan's getting this completely right.
They laugh at death. Of course, if it's one of their own relations that they're burying that day, they're not so good at laughing about death. Like we are. But on the whole, if you think that this...
If it's their own relations that are dead, then it's serious. They don't find it funny. But when it's your relationships that have been broken down through the tragic grief, then it's fine. They can have a laugh about that. Look, here comes the next funeral cart pulling up. Well, hey, let's get the job on. Well, hey, cheerful like a roofer or a milkman or a milk person. Do you still have a milk person? Post people. My post people are very cheerful when I meet them. And also the mortician.
55 million people in England watching me. And in 100 years' time, every single one of them will be dead.
That's cheerful.
We're all equal.
We're not... Wait. We're all equal in some terms, like, before the law. Naked before the law, aren't we? We're all equal in terms of human rights and stuff like that. Obviously, I believe that. But I don't necessarily believe that simply because we die, we live in a state of equality. We have to fight for our rights and our equalities. Like the fact that one day I'll be dead, that's comforting. While I watch somebody get more pay than, like, I don't, because I'm a man, don't I? But women have to watch somebody get more pay than them for the same job. But don't worry, you know, they might be earning a lot more money than me now, but later on when we're dead, that'll be fine.
The richest man in Great Britain and the poorest man in Great Britain.
But just men in Alan's equality world. They're both equal because they're both men and dead.
Will all end the same way. And money won't save you. Isn't that great? That we're all equal.
Money will buy you a higher quality of life, and then if you have like sickness problems, you can get, like, it's not fair, it's not right. We should have a thriving NHS that can do everyone the best, but you know, some people can get better care. Like, it might actually affect your health. Like, money, I'm not being funny about it. We're all equal, and you know, we're all good people. But, or some people are not good people, are they? But like, money is a like demonstrably important factor in health outcomes for populations. That's why poverty's so important, that we need to eradicate it. People are living in mouldy flats and they're breathing in fucking mould that the council won't fix. And like money money can fix that. The fucking council should. Do you know what I mean?
Equal. The most intelligent man in the world will still have the same lifespan as me and go.
No, it's not necessarily the case. People have different lifespans, and it might not be predicated on the most intelligent man did all the fitness stuff and ate all the good food and then, you know, got hit by a truck. So who knows? But like, okay, but you can put yourself in a better position by doing smarter things and by being naive, or I don't want to say dumb, because like even people that might not have got on so well at school can live a healthy lifestyle, can't they? It's not based on intelligence, but like your lifespan is based on how healthy. Like, honestly, we know this, right? It's about what you eat, first and foremost. That's important, because if you overload on too many different like fats and sugars, it's bad for you, isn't it? It's about what you eat, it's about how you exercise, and it's about, I believe, with other systems like your endocrine system and stuff like that, it's about how you I don't think it's healthy for people to be enraged all the time, or it's not healthy for me to be up in the middle of the night like this. That's one of them. Yeah, there's all sorts of different things that you could theoretically improve your lifespan, and that's why, again, poverty's so unfair, because some people can't do any of that stuff. They have to work double shift, you know. Like, Alan's misconceptions and like, you know, his own self-centered view of the world means that when he says stuff like this, it reveals him to be quite a sad person.
World will still have the same lifespan as me and go. I don't find that sad. I just find that is life. And I want you to understand that this life is little. And to hate somebody is pathetic. Yeah.
So we shouldn't feel angry at people like, you know, to name a big one, Hitler. Or like, you know, it's such a confused, like, there's so many mechanisms. I could go deep on this, you know, like the fact that we evolved and the predatory behaviour upon us caused us to feel angry and fight back. You know, stuff like that was actually quite important, wasn't it? Like, you know, being not naive and defending yourself and stuff like that. But rather than that, like, just
little.
This world is little, so hating people,
and to hate somebody is pathetic.
It's pathetic. It's he's the one doing the hating, that's talking about these other people on his show. Like, he's the pathetic one. He's the one that does these big rants about people all the time and gets his egg on and posts the community posts. Like, to hate somebody is pathetic, right? But to make community posts, this one's from his community, but there's no evidence it actually is from his community. You know, he's trying to pull the community card like we did the other time. Like that happened naturally. This Dare the Truthers is here. It's his, look, don't miss this, Dare the big rant I'm having, post about that. If Junior started a crowd justice today, how much would it raise? Trolls strike me for using a bit of footage of Cornwall. Well, fuck you, I've been managed to get around that, and I've still got the footage of Cornwall, which is actually copyright, so fuck you. Hey, Mr. Cohen, here's your boy 3 years ago slandering me. Like, who's the one living in this hate bubble? Massive narcissist. Massive weird narcissist. You can't. You shouldn't be angry at things that you legitimately have grievance against because you're stupid and wasting your life. It's just condescending narcissism.
No.
It's not like he's like meditative and calm and teaching you to let things go and, you know, when to draw energy and when to fight and stuff. He's just rambling like a narcissist. Yeah, I did report him for a copyright strike. Yeah, he published one of my videos on his channel, put it in a community post. It was the video of me doing. I didn't just make those clips of whatever I said to his daughter. I'd want them up, but he put it. He didn't publish it on his channel. He put it unlisted and then published it in his community posts. So he published it. So then I immediately copyright struck it. Yeah, if he publishes my content with no commentary and just a clip of my content like that, I'm going to copyright strike him. Yes. It was a win for me. It was a stupid move for him. He made a mistake and I was able to strike.
I'm trying to explain. I'll put it this way. The internet has given us a lot of freedom regarding freedom of expression, instantly share stuff, give out our thoughts, ideas to the world, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But you and I have to be careful what we say because it's indelible.
Well, you don't have to be too careful because, like it says here in this, oh, I've got to scroll and there's loads. You don't have to be too careful. Like an uninhibited and ill thought out contribution to a casual conversation where participants expect a certain amount of repartee or give and take is it needs to be more than that to count as a crime, right? So like my React, for example, you know, talk about uninhibited and ill thought out. Like I'm just reacting live to what he's saying. You know, he's saying the things and I'm reacting. And it's a casual conversation. We're on a YouTube stream. Participants expect a certain amount of repartee and give and take. It's React. It might be unpopular or unfashionable opinions. It might be trivial, banter or humour, and it might even be distasteful to some or painful to those subjected to it. But it'd have to be more than that in order for it to be a criminal offence. So we do watch what we say, you know, we do... I think if you were worried about offending people in racial terms or homophobic terms and stuff like that, obviously you've got to watch what you say. I don't have to worry about what I say too much there because I don't think in those terms. When I was a kid, we used to say words like retard, and there's another word beginning with F that we used to bandy around all over the show, but now people don't say it. And that was more of a, like, even as a 40-year-old, like, not as like an old person. When I was young, we used to say this and that, but, you know, words fell out of public. Like, we were kids at school, bear in mind, you know, you retard. But like now you don't, like, I wouldn't consider saying it. And if it accidentally nearly was on my, like, I'd stop myself and say, hang on, that's not the right word. I shouldn't be saying that. And I'm glad that I do. You know, sometimes you have to think about what you say, yeah. But Alan is trying to imply that he's trying to imply that you can't speak freely on the internet. You can, but you're just accountable for the things you say. That's the way I'd rather put that.
Indelible. I say indelible. You know what indelible ink is?
Yeah, it means you can't erase it.
Can somebody tell me what indelible ink is? Come on. We're going to be here for a long time tonight, guys. I promise you. I want to talk to you. I want to tell you a story. What's indelible ink?
So why are you holding us up with this indelible ink nonsense?
Oh, that's lovely water, that. Water with a hint of something. Peach? I love peach. Okay, what's indelible? Surely one of you clever people know what indelible ink is, right?
What are you on about, Alan? Like, most people would know what indelible is.
Cacao.
Like, you're an indelible stain on the YouTube world.
Indelible ink, what is it? Oh, Nancy. Nancy Prancy.
When he sped up like that, it sounded like Nancy was called Nazi.
I hope you can read my, Nancy, if you read my community post tonight, I think it's really funny. Still, Nancy is for you. So what's indelible?
It's for you, Nancy, that community post. It's for you. We're at 1.25 speed. Maybe I need him faster. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows
really
what indelible is. That's because you've cultivated a group of people who don't think very well for themselves, Alan.
Cacao, do you know what indelible ink is? Could be take a long time to get through this first part of the show, couldn't it? If nobody knows what indelible ink is, I'm in trouble.
Can't they even Google it? This is not a good move for your content if you're letting it be held up by your audience's inability to Google a dictionary definition of a fairly common word.
Get rid of it. Permanent. Your posts are indelible.
They're not. You can delete them. I can't believe this. Indelible, delete, markings that cannot be removed, not able to be forgotten, possibly not able to be forgotten, once it's in someone's mind, maybe, but markings that cannot be removed. Posts on the internet are definitely not indelible. If I just ask Google quickly, I'm pretty sure it's going to confirm. Are posts on YouTube, it's a funny way of asking it, but on YouTube indelible? There's no answer because it must. I want it to include indelible. There's no one's ever asked this question in this way. So there you go. But you can just remove them. I block people and remove them. So do you, Alan. You're far from indelible in their chat, are you? Because you can't even comment because you have to jump the hurdle of get approved first.
You hate channels that write things about me and make all sorts of horrible accusations. You're indelible. What you write about me is there forever.
No, it's not. It doesn't have to be. I'm hoping to leave mine up, but when I die and years go by, YouTube are probably going to discontinue my account at some stage, aren't they? Because I won't be there, and it'll just be up to other people to redocument the stuff or keep it. I don't know what will happen 100 years in the future. So I really don't think this is indelible.
In indelible ink.
Even if we're talking 30 years, 10 years, again, it's not indelible. Videos of yours, Alan, have been taken down for different reasons, haven't they? It's recorded, it's on a YouTube server. If you really need, let's say, for example, someone did a live stream and in the background there was a murder happened and then they didn't know it and they deleted the live stream, and then 2 weeks go by and the police say, YouTube, we think you caught that on the live stream. And they'd say, well, it's probably still on our servers, we can get that back for you. Yeah, but for the average person at home, once it's been deleted, it's gone.
Imagine if you said what you think about me on a tattoo and it's there for the rest of your life, and you found out that thing you said about me wasn't true. Permanently, you're wrong.
Well, everything I've said about you is true.
Permanently wrong for the rest of your life. So you have to be careful what you say, because it can have serious consequences.
And this is also not right at all, right? This is the mind of the narcissist. Permanently wrong for the rest of your life. So how can you have a constructive conversation with someone if you're going to permanently be wrong for the rest of your life? If I was turned out to be wrong on something, I'd rather just stand up in public and say, I think I was wrong about that. Here's why. Let's move forward. Because if you can't accept when you're wrong, how can you learn? Accepting that you're wrong sometimes, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. It's important. That shows that you're an honest person, that you're not just trying to fight your corner. Especially with an intellectual argument, which is sometimes what we do when we analyse Alan. You're able to fight your corner if you don't hold that corner, if you are not intellectually bound by, you proved that argument wrong, right, well then I'm done because that's my argument, that's me. It's not me, it's just an idea, and if you tell me and teach me and show me, then I will learn. And then that shows me to be an open-minded person who's willing to learn. So if I were wrong, I'd rather admit it than fight the battle of trying to prove I'm right despite ever increasing evidence to the contrary, which is what Alan does as a narcissist.
You're free to critique and talk about each other, but you have to be careful what you say. Now, for me, for instance, I am a true crime enthusiast. So are you. Now, I'm not really an influencer YouTuber. I'm an investigative YouTuber.
No, you're not. There's no such thing. You can't call yourself this and that. You're just someone at home with a computer talking about crimes on the internet.
I don't do murders.
You don't do murders. You don't do murders.
Investigative YouTuber. I don't do murders that are solved. I do murders
that are solved.
YouTuber.
But didn't you do the Chris Watts case for years and years after it was resolved? Like, wasn't Chris Watts in prison? Didn't they have convictions? Like, why does he say these like outright lies?
What are you saying? Now, for me, for instance, I am a true crime enthusiast. So are you. Now, I'm not really an influencer YouTuber. I'm a investigative YouTuber. I don't do murders that are solved. I do murders that are strange, that cover up, or that's tricky, right? That need to be investigated. That's what I do. So I did one particular one in Colorado. I don't even want to mention it. And I
Why
discovered some shadows under a truck.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Another lady discovered the shadows on the truck. She told you this on Facebook. She showed you them, and then you deleted her, and then you took her ideas and presented them as if they were your own. And it didn't really have a direct bearing on the case because the police in America don't listen to you and your YouTube videos.
Sort of changed the case. But the main thing was, on the same video of the children in the truck, I saw a person who I thought wasn't Chris Watts, right? Now, can I put this? Eventually, people believed me about the shadow under the truck being not. There was children, right? It was children. And they believed me in the end after a year. But they've never believed me about the person walking out the house. They never believed it. Because they don't want to believe it, or
because it's
I don't
not
know,
right.
but they never believed it. Some
See,
people
this is my
believed
point. So even after extensive analysis, you know, from all the community and the police, Alan's theory didn't hold water. So he's not going to say no, it's bollocks. I turned out it was just a whatever on the. I don't know. I haven't looked into the CCTV on the Chris Watts thing, but he's going to just be hoisted by his own petard. He's going to die on this hill. I have to be right. I was 100% right. You know, people are. I'll tell you what. It's interesting. There's a parallel here with the way I was talking about Paul Ansel and Emma White and stuff. And like, while I made a few quite direct on the nose jokes about it, the whole point of what I was doing was body language analysis of their interviews. So I drew out what I thought they were saying, and I asked. I'm not going to say like Alan. I asked questions. I pointed at my argument out. This is what they're saying. This is what I think it means. So if they didn't do the murder, I mean, at the end of it, we have to accept that she didn't get murdered then, Nicola Bulley, and I have to be wrong then, and I should just come out publicly and make an apology. I don't know. I think I'm okay just to leave those videos up and just have had opinions at the time about what was going on. No, I think it was just fine. I don't think I've made a campaign where I've tried to incriminate someone and say that they need to be arrested. And obviously I did say a few times that it'd be interesting if they arrested Paul Ansel. But, you know, it kind of is what it is. And sorry, I'm getting confused into what we're doing now.
the end after a year. But they've never believed me.
Oh yeah, they never believed me, right? So if it turned out that this Man in Black or The Scream or, you know, they had DNA evidence and I was totally wrong, then I'd just be totally wrong and I'd be happy with that. Like, that'd be fine. I didn't make such a compelling, pointed argument in a very serious and aggressive way on the internet. I made body language analysis videos of people who did, and let's be fair, Paul Ansel looked like a fucking wrong'un in his interviews. Still does. So, like, there's a difference there in what we're talking about, isn't there? Whereas Alan is still to this day, he's telling you, I'm not talking about, this is what that Ivor Problem did in her video. I don't want to mention the money, but let's talk about the money for 5 minutes and then let's not mention it. But I'm not mentioning the Chris Watts case anymore, but let me fill you in on exactly what happened with the Chris Watts case. He's actually still talking about it. Literally still talking about it.
About the person walking out the house. They never believed it. Because they don't want to believe it, or I don't know, but they never believed it. Some people believed it. I've got 100,000 supporters that believe it.
You haven't got 100,000 supporters. You don't have 100,000 supporters in anything. You're not Man United Football Club. You've got 80,000 subscribers, of which, to this particular event, 1.6 decided to show over the full, time that they decided to watch it in the last couple of days. 1.6. So not exactly as you represent there, is it, Alan?
And for that one mistake in my life, and I apologised. I'm apologised now.
What? You're apologising for the mistake that they didn't believe you? You just said they didn't believe you, but you still believe it.
If anybody thinks I did wrong by pursuing that, what I saw as a fact for 3 years.
You just said you still see it as a fact.
I saw that as a fact. And yet I saw people saying, you're lying. And I thought, no, I'm not lying. I'm telling you my opinion. Now, for my opinion...
It wasn't just that, though, was it? For 3 years, you can't say I made YouTube content, hours and hours of lives daily, on talking about one fact. I mean, maybe he did. Maybe he span that out for all that time, but it would seem to the most normal, logical person that he might have been saying other things at the same time, during those times. So maybe it wasn't just that one fact.
It's indelible. You can look back on all my videos and you'll see me saying, I think there was a person that walked out of the house.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be indelible. You could just delete it all and make it a video apology.
And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm proud of it.
You're proud of it.
And I've always said it. Oh, save Robbie's. Hello, Robbie. You still married? You got divorced yet? I hope you're still married.
I didn't say I was proud of the things that I've been doing on my... Like, pride's not a virtue, for a start. So anyone that's religious will understand pride is not a virtue. Pride comes before a fall. I did the content. I'm analysing myself now and trying to defend myself against the same principle. But maybe I should just say, fuck it. I'm equally guilty of casting aspersions on people's characters, but I don't know. Like, I was doing body language analysis of the interviews. That's what came out of them. I will forever maintain that I didn't say anything that I made up. I watched what they did and then reacted to it in the same way as I'm doing here. So if he doesn't do this, I don't do this. So for me, it's them that I'm interpreting. But it is my interpretation, I suppose. You're slowly fading to sleep. I'm less sleepy because I guess I woke up in the middle of the night, so I might as well just keep rolling maybe. I'm going to try and get this up on YouTube, and then once everyone's had a chance to watch it, then we're going to go into this one at some point tomorrow, maybe in the daytime.
Now, Save Robbie has had even more trollism than I had. I meant that word. Save Robbie has had a lot of trollisms.
I don't know who Save
I'm
Robbie
trying to
is.
explain, Robbie, about what they say about you is indelible. And I'm explaining the difference between what I do and what haters do. So I say...
Interesting as well, at this juncture in this episode, is to note this is Alan's own show on his Armchair Detective channel, and the episode today is called The Indictment Document That Ultimately Led to Rex Human Arrest. And so for 20 minutes, he's not talked about that. He's been rambling about this bollocks. And so if you're tuning in for the first time to the Armchair Detective or a new subscriber, you think, what the fuck is he going on about? What the fuck? And then you're forced, if you are that interested and intrigued, to go and look at it, and you find all this stuff that makes him look bad. So it's a mistake for Alan to even be doing this rant.
I believe that Chris Watts may have had help.
He's doing it again.
And I've got castigated for that for 5 years. A number of channels were made, and the hate against me grew and grew and grew and grew to the monster thing it is, where haters do. So I say, I believe that Chris Watts may have had help.
Why are you doing it today?
And I've got castigated for that for 5 years. A number of channels were made, and hate against me grew and grew and grew and grew to the monster thing it is.
Oh, I get it. He's trying to explain to the new members of his audience who aren't really aware of all this old bollocks, right? What's happened is he's got some people on his community posts that say things like, what the fuck you on about? And they might have been deleted. There's got some things that basically say, like, what's going on? I'm sure I've seen one where someone left a comment. This one says, this makes 0 sense. And Alan's put, you have to be there. This makes 0 sense. And Alan's replied, you have to be there. So people that don't know what the fuck's going on are being introduced to it through Alan. And instead of realising that's a mistake, what he's doing is he's doubling down and explaining it all to them so they can get involved in his drama from 5 years ago. And the modern YouTube viewer will look at this and think, what the fuck is this? I don't want to be involved in your drama from 5. I don't need you to explain why you're a good person and everyone else is a bad person from 5 years ago. Either your content stands up to scrutiny, i.e. you make good episodes, or you don't. And Alan consistently just puts the fucking news on and doesn't. So this is weird.
No, but so what I'm saying is, yes, you can have an opinion. Be careful what you write because it's there for always. Borders are being breached daily now.
He's reading someone else's article
and it's
or
not
something.
Funny. Now you might say to me, what about that woman that you accused of maybe being there on the day, right? And I say, yeah, I have to live with that. I do think that person should be questioned.
Again?
And they will say, well, we can do it to you. Now you know what it's like. It's karma. They love that word, karma. This is karma. You're getting karma, Adrian.
There's no... Like, think about this, right? And it is a really good point. Did Jimmy Savile get his karma? No, he died after done all that fucking awful stuff to all those people. So there's no karma when Jimmy Savile was concerned. does AD get his karma? Karma's a Buddhist principle where when you die, they check out what you were like when you were alive. They, you know. But if you're a good chuffer, then they get good points, and then you go to be something good, like, I don't know, a cat. But if you're a bad chuffer and you're a nautis, then you get to do something bad and have to be bad in the next life and be like, I don't know, Alan. So karma happens after you die when you go into the next life. And this life, I don't know if I believe in the vengeful act of karma. Like, karma isn't vengeance. Do you know what I mean? It's not the universe creating a vengeance for you, avenging you. You know? I think what's happening, though, they call it the cuckoo's coming, you know, the crow's coming home to roost or something, don't they? You know, Alan's reaping what he sowed, I would say. Rather than karma, I'd say Alan is reaping what he sowed.
Not quite.
Because I'm a great example. He didn't have to come and fucking steal my content and make comment about me on his channel, denigrating me. Alan started all this. When I shut it down, he kept on talking. I'm reacting to Alan. React is the word that we use on YouTube. You know, I don't feel like Alan did a new video, so I have to come on the internet now. But like, I'm using him for content because he keeps talking about me. So, like, he can make that stop by not talking about me all the time. But then I'll go back over his old stuff and I'll, you know, use some of that for content too, because it's fun. But let's be clear, and like, he's reaping what he's sowing, and I think he kind of likes it in a way.
I'm not on a Netflix movie. I'm not in a Lifetime movie. I'm not involved in a terrible set of murders. I'm just writing about it.
Well, you're not writing about it.
You see the difference?
No.
I'm just writing about it. And yet I've become more hated than the guy that did the killings. More hated by the woman that was accused of being there. And now it's just about me. And as a 69-year-old granddad, sat here thinking, how the hell can that be? How can that happen? And how can it come to such a state that a young man in Colorado wants to sue me for every penny I haven't got? Because I have an opinion on a Netflix movie. And then I see how the hatred grows.
Twisting.
And I'm trying to say to you, I don't understand it.
Oh, I don't know, Star Asia, maybe.
Because there's multiple ways of getting your message across without going to the gutter, isn't there? Without, like, yeah, critique me. I don't want you critiquing me. I love it being debunked. But don't go to the lowest denominator.
Let's be fair, he doesn't love this. But he just said, I thought he enjoyed it. Maybe he does because it, like, puts his name out there more. And in a few days, a week or so, when we stop covering him like content as much, because I've took my eye off the ball with some other chuffers on the internet that we need to cover as well. But when we've stopped covering him for a bit, like, does he worry that he won't get so much logarithmic traction and people won't be as interested because of what Super Chuffer said? You know,
like calling people the worst name they could call someone.
I didn't call you anything
Without any proof, mind. Because that's indelible.
We were singing with kids on Smule. There was a Smule account where you had to be like connected to those. Like, don't even get me started. One of them followed you on Smule. You didn't unfollow or block or anything. I didn't make all that shit up. It's there on the internet, indelible.
When communicating with others in real life, there is this idea of thinking before you speak, right? Do you know what that means? It means pausing before you say something. Now, I used to own a pub. If I'm in a pub with somebody, there's things I'm not going to say to them. I might think it.
Has Alan got AI to write this little script for him? I'm wondering, because it seems like some fairly weird, banal jump-off points that he's using.
But there's things I'm not going to say.
Why? Because you're thinking bad things that you don't want to say to people. Why is that? Usually I can say what I think because I'm not thinking horrible, weird shit about people.
They're there, I'm here. I'm not going to say it. One, I could get a broken nose. And two, I might make them cry. And three, it's cruel.
So exactly what I mean. Like, so Alan's telling you that when he's in the pub with people, he's thinking things that if he were to say them would make them cry, get them angry. Like, he's thinking things that if he were to say them, they would be offended by. That's
so why
nice.
don't we pause before we clip that nasty word or that accusation? Why don't we pause there? What makes us hit?
Some people do, Alan, and then they think, no, he is a narcissist. He is an arsehole. Yeah, okay.
The button that we wouldn't do in the street to someone. Because it's easier to cross the border, right? Digital communication has a broader reach than real life. There's a larger audience out there that can read and see your posts and messages. You might be in your bedroom or your seller tapping away.
Reach is relative, isn't it? For our YouTube content, reach is relative. It's out there in public, but you have to find it and watch it. And we don't get big, like neither me nor Alan are not big on YouTube. So we don't get big numbers of views. So it's relative, isn't it? You know, I'm not publishing this on a billboard outside McDonald's or what have you. Reach is relative. A lot of people are going to find this like massively hypocritical from him as well, but it's strange.
But what you write, my God, it's like, remember the war, Second World War?
No, I don't.
Propaganda.
I understand propaganda.
To build up hate.
That's part of what you're. That's why, again, why he's angry on this one and today's, you know, the big angry outburst is because he did propaganda in his last episode. He dressed as the angel and he had the fucking white room, and part of propaganda is imagery, and he was using very simple iconography to try and put ideas in his audience's head. Like, he's the master of propaganda. It's spin and bullshit. I'm the one that unpicks it and shows you the reality and explains it as I do it.
Against another nation. In wars, they build up hate. I'm sorry, it's going to take a long time tonight. I will do the show that's advertised in the end. I don't know what time.
Like, the sort of thing that he was saying about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs earlier would have been the sort of thing that you could consider to be a propaganda speech against groups. So that, you know, you could imagine the same sort of aspersions being cast on Jewish plays in the 1930s and early 40s Germany, couldn't you? Like, oh, you know, these chuffers and their ideas, and like, I just don't even get me started on this. This is just fucking ridiculous. To be analysing our content in terms of propaganda is we're getting on for a new twisted weird. I think he's might have, I showed the AI on my screen the other day, didn't I? I showed how to do it. I think he might be using artificial intelligence to write his little scripts.
Well, I want to talk to you about
because
it,
no normal
I've seen it
person
all
would choose these ideas to talk about in this way.
my life. I've studied the Second World War. And now they dehumanized a race. I won't say the name of the race. Your race was dehumanized.
Jewish people. That would be the exact sort of things that you do to me. Mischaracterization. Oh, he did this horrible, dirty, disgusting thing to my daughter. Oh, they're all after your money. Oh, he put his cock in my mouth, and he's a dirty, disgusting person who did, like, you know, dirty. And they're greasy, horrible people, and they fucking, you know, he did the same thing to me. Character assassination through slander and misrepresentation to create a caricature. He's done the same thing to me.
Or another country. We did it as well. We dehumanized a bit the Germans.
A bit. Careful now, and you know the people in your chat are very, very nationalistic. Apparently, some of them. So a bit. The Hun. Sorry about the smell, chaps. Trod in a Bosch. A bit.
Because we bombed Dresden so badly.
We bombed Dresden so badly. That was dehumanizing for them. Yeah, it's not in the same conversation, Alan. We're talking about propaganda posters and interpretations of culture, but now also, yeah, we did bomb Dresden, Kristallnacht. I got all that. Yeah, this is going back a bit.
I want to talk about Dresden.
You don't want to talk about Dresden. No, it's a bad idea.
But you have to get the population to hate the other side so much that you don't see them as human beings fully.
Not exactly that. It's not exactly that. That's confusing to the audience that you're talking to, Alan. It's not. That's not the purpose of all propaganda. Not at all. Propaganda is much more varied and wide than that. You know. You should read some Noam Chomsky. I bring him up all the time when I talk about these things. Media Control. It's an excellent book, but it's not exactly. It's just, you're twisting this because you want to relate it to you and your life, aren't you, Alan? That's what's coming around here.
And that's what propaganda is. And that's a propaganda that certain people can foster upon weaker-minded people.
That's you doing that.
If you have a strong personality.
Like, propaganda is not extensive textual, verbal, whatever you call this, analysis of the things you say and do. That's not propaganda. Propaganda is a simplification and a spin and a slant, isn't it? like you do it.
I watched a Toy Story with one of my grandchildren the other day. Toy Story, right?
Toy Story.
You haven't seen it?
You watch Toy Story with one of your grandchildren. This sounds like a good start to a story. I wonder where you're going to go with this.
There's a sheriff in it.
You said that you sat around at home sleeping and eating. Did you watch Toy Story while you were sat at home sleeping and eating, or did you watch it with your grandchildren? I wonder how many, I wonder how many people think which one. Because we're on Twitch at like 5, it's coming up to 6 in the morning now. Hooray! There is no poll, but I wonder who thinks which.
He was kind-hearted, and he's a natural leader. And all the other toys followed him, and trusted him, and believed in him. So he had the power over all these other toys to say, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
People don't look at Toy Story in terms of a power struggle between the toys. People don't look at the main character and see him as, he can tell them what to do. He's got the power. There was a bit of that, wasn't there? Because Buzz Lightyear, I can't really remember Toy Story, to be honest, and the main plot features, but wasn't Buzz Lightyear like the new toy, and they all wanted to be like Buzz, and it was about groups and friendships, and in the end, everyone could be friends. I'm a bit confused here.
And whatever he said was taken as the truth.
The toys didn't follow Buzz like he was. The toys didn't follow Woody like he was some dictator. Woody wasn't like the political hierarchy in Toy Story. They didn't follow him blindly. Mr. Potato Head didn't just like pander to his wills, to his whims. All right, Mr. Potato Head, it's time to put the fucking, trying to put the toy soldiers on the front lines, send them out. Yes, Mr. Woody. All right, listen, I've been thinking. The problems with this toy box are that the rag dolls are basically stinky and smelly, and they want all your space. So we need to eradicate the rag dolls. So I'm arranging for a burning. Like, that didn't happen. There was none of this. Toy Story analogized Nazi war crimes recreated by Woody and his compadres didn't happen. This is not the themes and metaphors within Toy Story. This is a narcissist view on Woody.
Anybody know?
Torchy.
The cowboy.
He loves a puppet. He loves Torchy, and he loves cowboys, doesn't he? So this is perfect for Alan. I think he just watched Toy Story on his own.
Was the most intelligent, quick thinking, clever toy.
Well, Mr. Potato Head wasn't right.
And all the others followed him. Occasionally, he would meet an evil toy who would try to outwit.
Toy Story did not have Woody trying to outwit evil toys, did it? From what I can remember. I thought it was about the interplay between Buzz and Woody, and didn't they have to escape or go somewhere or do... Hang on. I can't believe I'm having to do this. Toy Story. I can't believe I'm having to do this. Give me the Wikipedia. Production, development, writing, casting. Plot. Just give me the plot. So in a world where toys come to life, humans aren't around, a group of toys are preparing to move to a new house. Yeah. They have a birthday party and they get a new gift. This is going really into detail. Buzz Lightyear and his new favourite toy. Woody's jealous. Yeah, new toy that was better, and Woody feels left out, doesn't he? They go for a dinner with a pizza. A furious Buzz stows away in the car, confronts Woody. So they try and have an argument. Like, Woody tries using the radio control car to hide Buzz and knock him behind it. He wants to go to the pizza party. But in the end, they go to the pizza party, and basically Woody's being mean to Buzz and trying to hinder his chances to be the favourite toy. But Buzz learns that he's a toy and is saddened by that, and Woody and Buzz pursue the moving truck. Eventually they work together, don't they? And it's Christmas, they've got a new house, and there's a Mrs. Potato Head, and Woody and Buzz jokingly ponder what the gift could be worse than Buzz, only to nervously smile when Andy gets a puppy. So there's a little twist at the end, they get a puppy. But so neither of them are the favourite toy now. But it's a buddy comedy about two people who start as rivals for the affection of the main, Andy, the God character or whatever. Like, they start as rivals essentially, but Buzz being super and wonderful and new is still naive and flawed in some way, and when Woody finds this out, he actually feels sympathy for him and they become buddies. That's what the story is. So Alan's description of Toy Story is fully like, I've never heard anyone describe Toy Story as Andy being like the political leader of the group, and sorry, Woody is the political leader of the group, and all of the toys defer to his opinion because he's the main one, right? I've never heard that said. And then because they don't, they go with Buzz. They're like, oh, Buzz is great, Buzz is, and Andy's like, and sorry, Woody's like, oh, he's Buzz so great. And then I don't remember again this battle between the evil toys. So what's happening here? This face, I want this face for my thumbnail on this one. What's happening here? What is happening here?
A good toy. And the premise of it was that, okay, Toy Story, Woody, right? We're all, I want to get yourself into the mind of Woody, right? He knows that all these toys have a lifespan. They have the lifespan of the child, how long that child wants to play with toys. Not even that. They have a lifespan that the child's favourite toy one week will not be the favourite toy the next week.
This is part of the theme, like the underpinning subtext, but that's not what you really take out of it, is it? Alan the narcissist has applied his own mind. Right, I'm Woody, I'm the main one. Like when I'm watching Toy Story, right, that's me, Woody. God, Woody's not the favourite one. I'm going to have to oh my God, this is an important life lesson about not being the most favourite one. I've just realised. Like there is a bit of that. You know, it does come into it, like I said, groups and acceptance and, you know, people's feelings of jealousy and kindness and stuff. But yeah, Toy Story got dark. That's, yeah. And the thing, that's right, this is his level. Like, this is fucking weird. I would love Alan to watch, like, okay, so now we've got a premise for a show. Scott and Alan's, I mean, for a start, I don't think he's even watched Toy Story properly. I think he probably fell asleep through part of it. But Scott and Alan's film show, where we both watch a film, we'll do it as a members stream, right? We both watch a film and we come and talk about it once a week. And we're not allowed, get this, the premise would be, we're both in the live stream together, we're only allowed to talk about the film with each other. We're not allowed to have an argument about anything else. Okay? He's got to go for this. This is a good idea, Alan. I know you're listening. Join me on a live stream. You can have half of the monies, right? We'll get monies. We'll make them pay because it's a good event. Like, we'll get some monies. You can have half of it, so don't worry about that. We will talk about a film. There's a time limit. We're each at 15 minutes each, or whatever, 20 minutes. We can analyse each other's perspective. But that's it. We're not allowed to say anything weird about Nicola Bullis or Chris Watts or any of this argument. We just come together and talk about films. That would be a really good episode that I'd love to do with you, Alan. Please, 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 please do that with me. The crowd would go wild. They'd really want to see it. We could each take turns in picking films. So you could, I bet you're thinking already, Alan, about which films you could pick, about things you could say.
They have a lifespan that the child's favourite toy one week will not be the favourite toy the next week.
No.
And they have to find a way to survive that.
They don't have to.
Dichotomy of like.
It's not a dichotomy. He said dichotomy, threw in a big word, a dichotomy. It's not a dichotomy. Unless what he's about to say is.
Oh yeah, I love you. And then before you know it, you're in the bin and thrown out.
That could be kind of a dichotomy. But.
Now, some of the bad toys knew this and they held it against the kids.
They held it. I don't remember this bad toys bit, but he is kind of right. Like, that is an early thematic drive, is the fear of rejection. I mean, that's what Woody is afraid of. That's the whole point and driver of it. But it turns out you don't have to, because you can all be included in the group. So none of them end up rejected and thrown away. Like, even though Andy does not choose, like, Andy's got a puppy now, but we're all the toys together. So, like, you know, we all feel the same together. But Alan's not worried about what the other toys that are the bad toys that have been forgotten. Fuck them. I need to not be forgotten. I need to make sure I'm. Like, he's caught up on this. Like, I wonder if he finds the resolution in the story and understands it. Let's
and
carry
they
on.
hated the kids because the kids would throw you away. But what did Woody do? He thought, okay, there's another way. Instead of being thrown away, let's move on to the next kid. Let's be a power for good for the next kid. And that's the thinking that I want to be. That's the thinking that I want.
Did what?
That I think
Did Woody get moved on to the next kid? It doesn't say that here. It says he gets a puppy. Did Woody get passed on? I haven't watched all the fucking films. Did Woody get passed on in Toy Story? No, the first 3 films centre on Woody's relationship with his kid, Andy. So maybe he did in the later films, but not in the first 3 films, no. Maybe Alan's not watched Toy Story 1. Maybe he's been watching a different Toy Story.
Inside the box. The child has you, he doesn't want you. Well, give me away to a younger child that does want me, right?
What? That seems really inappropriate for you to say that on your stream, Alan, after all of Nonskate.
Want to be. That's the thinking that I want. That think outside the box. The child has you, he doesn't want you. Well, give me away to a younger child that does want me, right? Which is the correct way of thinking. The bad toys, I hate everyone. I hate kids. I hate the world. That's not the way. That's not the way. Be like Woody. Don't be a hater.
Love kids?
It isn't easy to take back anything you post online. You might say, well, it's easy to delete.
We're off Woody in a Toy Story now. That's gone. Do you think artificial intelligence has written this thing that he's reading? Because it sounds a bit it sounds a bit like the ravings of a madman, to be honest.
It's easy to edit. There's always a possibility that someone's already archived it and saved it. And
You just said it's easy to edit, so it's not indelible. But yeah, someone could have archived it. YouTube archives it all, like I said. But people record it. Like, we're archiving you now. Like, we archived that bit where you brought up the screen with the black bed and the black thing. Like, that's how you got archived. People watch you and make sure you don't, like, when you slip up, that it's recorded, so you don't get to edit it and pretend it never happened.
there's always a possibility that someone's already archived it and saved it. And you know, in this area of true crime, we are the experts at screenshots. Screenshot, record, keep, play it back in 5 years' time. So you haven't really edited and deleted, have you?
Not you didn't get to do that. We
There are
caught
a
you
number of
out.
hate channels.
That's exactly how we caught Alan out.
That are upset with the way I've been treated and they pulled back, and I appreciate
Oh, I appreciate Genetic Code for being such a... Just don't even start me.
that. But what they've said is there for all time because somebody's recorded it, isn't it?
Now he's telling
If you Google Alan Vinnicum,
the old hate channels, they should go and delete what they've written. Genetic Code, he's now trying to manipulate you again. He's got another step for you now. Go and delete your old videos.
and you, isn't it? If you Google Alan Vinnicum and you see the picture of a child next to my face, and the inference is that I was chasing a child into karaoke for nefarious reasons, then that's there forever.
Well, then you shouldn't have done that on the karaoke then, should you? Because if I Google Alan Vinnicum, brings up this crowd justice fight against bullying and harassment, brings up your court problem with Company's House, where you, not court, sorry, your tax problem with Company's House. But also if you go on videos, then, oh look, the tragic world of angry Alan Vinnicum comes up. That's our episode that we did on the internet about you. Justice for the Ruseks, Armchair Detective Alan Vinnicum. That's your video that you did, I think. And then look, Armchair Detective Alan Vinnicum is not a nonce. That's my video that I did there. And then Friday Night Laughs, that's my video that I did there. And then Narc Rage, that's my video that I did there. And then Nasty Alan Vinnicum, and then Narc Rage. And then the worst patron ever, because we're making all this content. Every time you come on the internet and have a rant about me, Alan, I do a little react video, and it does better than all of your stuff. So you keep digging your hole further and further, deeper and deeper, lower and lower.
That's there forever, I'm afraid. And even though I proved I've never done a duet with anybody in my life, it's there forever. And it's black-hearted and it's cold and it's cruel to do it to someone without proof. To have an agenda, an unproven lie thrown in your face. So in that case, what you see online
It wasn't an unproven lie. That video is just exactly what it looked like on Smule, recorded, screen recorded. Like he said, us in the truther community are great at screen records. That was you got busted.
Welcome, my name's Alan, the armchair detective.
What did he just say that? Why did he say that then? Welcome, I'm Alan, I'm the armchair detective. 20 minutes in. Why did he say that?
To do it to someone without proof. To have an agenda, an unproven lie thrown in your face. So, in that case, what you see online, welcome, my name's Alan, the armchair detective. I will be doing the serial killings later. So, what you see online does not necessarily depict the truth, right? For example, the profiles of posted people...
Someone in chat must have said, what the fuck is going on? What is this? What's going on? For him to react like that. Welcome, I'm Alan, I'm the armchair detective. In a minute, you'll get the content you expect, but for now, I'm going to be doing my rant and ramble about how I've been maligned in the past.
Social media may have been carefully crafted to make a good impression online. You've all heard of catfish, I mean.
Catfish. Oh
I've
my
had some
God.
wonderful catfish give me marriage proposals on this channel. I've had about 30 marriage proposals. Honestly, Scout's honest. I've had about 30 marriage proposals since I've been doing the armchair detective.
And they're all catfish.
And some of them from people that make Sophie Loren look ugly. But it's not them. It's catfish. So people can misrepresent themselves, can't they?
Just like you do, Mr. Detective.
And they do.
Mr. What's his name on Facebook again? Joe Lawson. Mr. What's his name on Smule again? John Bray. Yeah, people can misrepresent themselves all the time, yeah.
To create a good impression. And there's exaggerations. And what people say about me are exaggerations, like a little grain of something.
Oh, there's some truth behind it then. What people say about me in the main is that I am myself authentically and real and down to earth. So I'm not going to say there's some little grain of fucking thing and then they've conspired and made a story about me. No, I'll just be real.
Made into a mountain of lies. And even if it's like challenging for me to understand their true intentions, I still want to say to people, don't do it. Don't type in caps.
Don't cause me any more problems with your fucking opinions.
And be angry and like make scurrilous lies about people. Or
no one's making scurrilous lies about people in your world, Alan, unless you're doing it to other people.
I'll tell you the worst one, telling people not to watch someone.
Telling people not to watch someone, that's bad, is it? Here's some advice. Don't watch Alan. You're watching it now through my prism. I'm explaining to you why it's so fucking awful. It's not worth you to tune in like unmitigated without me here to break it apart and analyse it. It's just a slew of manipulation. It's not worth your time. And when he gets onto the case, the big case, that's just the news, isn't it? So like, it really doesn't have anything to offer. Alan is bottom of the barrel content. You're better off watching a video of fucking candle burning than watching Alan. It really is. I can turn it into content and talk about it, and then it becomes something. But without me here doing this, Alan's content is pretty bad.
I've never known anybody stop watching me because some Karens come in chat and said, "Don't watch this, man." Oh yeah, all right then. I do what a stranger said. I've been here for 5 years watching AD, but you were strangers coming to chat and you said, "Don't watch this, man." Okay, I'll never watch him again. That doesn't...
See, he's using that community as a tool to keep them in line. Don't listen to what a stranger said. You can only trust Alan and the people around us. It's like a cult.
doesn't happen. So what's the point of doing it? What is the point of thinking that you can foster your opinion? It's not North Korea. If you want to be the YouTube police, go to North Korea and join the police. You'll be all right then. You'll be welcome.
Is he an idiot? Now, a lot of people don't think that. A lot of people don't think that iDubbbz is particularly cool these days, right? But Content Cop, even the re-uploads, because he took them down, Content Cop got 1 million views re-uploaded 3 years ago. iDubbbz's full series of Content Cop was massive. Making comment on other YouTubers and their content was a huge thing on YouTube. It's not as big now. They took it, to be fair, them and H3H3 took it to some quite extremes, but it was huge. If you want to be the YouTube content police, then come onto YouTube and make fucking videos about it, because there's loads of them. Like H3H3 Content Court. Look, Content Court, H3H3. Let me just quick, like 1.3 million views for the James Charles episode, 1 million views for J Station, 1.8 million views for the Quartering. Content Court. Like, if Alan had more notoriety on YouTube and made more, you know, like, I'm essentially doing this for Alan on a smaller scale. Like, we're a smaller scale channel, Alan's a smaller scale channel, we're doing this on Alan. Then you look into like the detractors and the Dark Side Phils and the Cobes and the Cyrexes and the Amberlins and the like, look at Narc Alert. I really want to get Narc Alert on the show sometime. Narc Alert does shows about her favourite lolcow is and narcissist is Amberlyn Reid, and she's doing episodes about Amberlyn Reid. Content cop. If you want to be a content cop, then come on YouTube and make a video about it and talk about it like we're doing now, and we can do content police. Like, it's a quite standard thing on the internet to do what we're doing, like a quite standard thing. You know, if you want to do detectives and cops, Alan, you're weird.
What we've got to do is evaluate things and don't jump to conclusions and don't judge people immediately.
Because they did with you, and then they thought that you were, they thought that you were a nonce, didn't they? Because they saw that smule, and you're saying, well, don't jump to a conclusion there. I'll give me fucking months to explain it.
Like, you browse websites on the internet. The internet is like a giant playground for people to create.
Honestly, I think he's reading this off an artificial intelligence generated script. What's he reading it from? It's either a news article or an AI script. He's reading it off his phone.
You browse websites on the internet. The internet is like a giant playground for people to create websites about everything under the sun.
The problem with the artificial intelligence generated script is you can't use that as your script. It doesn't read properly. Like, it's a bad idea to use an artificial intelligence. I hope he did pick up on me saying the other day about using it to write a script, because if this is the payoff, it's going to be wonderful. You have to be able to, like, you know, parse it, analyze it, rewrite it. You can't just like think, oh, I'll read that and on the fly I'll make some comments. It'll end up throwing you off and being weird. Of course, the artificial intelligence script that we made about Alan was pretty good. I have to get that up as an episode, actually. Don't I have to get that up as a video?
There's no policing and regulation. A bit like the sub, right?
What?
That sub that blew up.
He did this
on the Titanic.
With the hand here.
A bit like the sub, right? That sub that blew up.
That's horrible.
On the Titanic site wasn't regulated properly. It was like YouTube. I'm going to build a sub and I'm going to go down there and I'm going to charge people.
YouTube is heavily regulated. YouTube is not like the sub that took the people down to see the Titanic. This analogy does not hold water. You're thinking it, it's not me. Don't you fucking dare to say that Scott did a bad joke. You're thinking it, not me. If you're thinking it, then it's not my fault, is it? I didn't do the joke. We're getting into troubled waters here. Like a bridge. Shut up, you. Over. Shut up, you. Troubled water. I said shut up, you. I will lay thee down. You can shut up. Right. So, Alan's argument doesn't hold water.
£4 million to look at the Titanic.
And you're a bad person.
With no regards to safety. They're using a PlayStation, for God's sake.
They would look. There was regards to safety. They didn't get in a fucking barrel and then like nail the lid shut and let's go down to the Titanic. Like, there were some regards to safety, but it wasn't safe, was it? There is some nuance here, Alan. They were using a PlayStation controller. It wasn't exactly a PlayStation controller, was it? No, it was a Logitech controller. But don't think you can count on Alan to get any facts right ever about anything.
Control it. People's lives.
You know.
And that's where you are with YouTube.
You could be crushed in seconds. Jesus, I'm laughing about it now. You are. I mean, Alan is probably feeling in a similar way, under extreme pressure, worried about being crushed in seconds. But like, it's not the same for most of us who are using YouTube and social media as getting in the sub and going down to see the Titanic in a relatively unsafe setup. Why is he saying these things? Why do I have to do these videos? Can we please stop, Alan? Will you please stop?
Playing with people's lives. Just like the guy with the sub and his PlayStation. You say something about me.
He's been tragically crushed in the submarine. He doesn't care to put his name up. Say his, I don't know what his name is. I'm not the one bringing it up. But there's no R.I.P. this guy. He's there. It's like, you know, fucking stupid guy down in the sub with his PlayStation. It's just like me, really. Like, what's going on? You know, God rest their souls, maybe you might want to say, if we're talking about this sort of thing in a serious way, Alan.
And someone might kill me.
Someone might kill you.
And that's not an exaggeration. I've
I
seen
think
it
it is
happen
an
on YouTube a lot.
No, I don't think you've seen people being murdered on YouTube a lot, and I think it is an exaggeration. Someone is not going to come and kill you, Alan.
Kill me. And that's not an exaggeration. I've seen it happen on YouTube a lot.
Yeah.
There's more than one way of killing people. You
Is there?
can make them unalive themselves with these accusations.
That was his thing, stuttering. You can make them, so that is possible. Like, there were some instances on YouTube, for example, yeah, but they had other, I mean, I don't know, you know, there were people getting trolled for different reasons, and there have been people who, you know, that's possible. I don't know if YouTube itself is to blame. You know, you can switch off YouTube and not watch it, so you don't have to be on here doing this, Alan. But yeah, that's possible. You know, it's a bit weird to be throwing it up here, because I don't think it's something that you're, you know, are you threatening this now, live on a stream? Is that what's happening? It feels a little bit insincere and kind of disgusting.
Or you could get some nutcase to come and get me.
Right, what's going on now?
YouTube a lot. There's more than one way of killing people. You can make them unalive themselves with these accusations. Or you could get some nutcase to come and get me.
So now his stream has gone out of sync because of some technical issue, and he's not going to sync it back up. So he's going to be out of sync with his own speech. That's brilliant.
Is that really what you're trying to achieve? No.
I'm not trying to achieve some nutcase go and murder you. No. What I'm trying to achieve is that when people think about watching The Armchair Detective, new people who come into the thing, right, and this is why he's fighting so hard on this level right now, is that they look at it and they think, do I want to be here watching your show? And they think, no, probably not. And there's other media around it that give them another good reason not to. So your strength and presence on YouTube diminishes. Strangely though, in the next episode, people do give him a lot of money. So, you know, that's a bit of a weird one. But maybe I'm not able to achieve that necessarily. Like, you know, I know that there's no way Alan's going to grow on YouTube. Like, he has no future on YouTube, let's say that. But he can, like, it's like he's clinging to a life raft, you know, but that life raft will be there for him to cling to. So he can still float around in the sea, clinging to the life raft, sharks circling. I think that's his predicament at the moment. For me now, it's turned into people literally want to see the content. So they've been asking me to respond to it. And for me, you know, I got up in the middle of the night. It's easy to chat about this, to do an analysis on this. I want to get back on the mainstream and when at the moment I'm a bit in my mental space in a way. Not like I'm falling apart mentally, but, you know, up in the middle of the night, sleeping pattern a bit disorganised. Was thinking about what some of the imps were saying the other day about me I'm trying to push hard off those tablets on it, but maybe I'm pushing too hard. Maybe I just need to chill. But when I want to, I'm on the main channel doing serious content. Alan's floating around in the sea on a life raft. So I don't want to see someone go and murder him. That's not my objective. And it never has. Like, it's a really weird thing to throw up there, isn't it? Is this the paranoid delusions of a narcissist?
Is that really what you're trying to achieve? No. We want you off YouTube. Okay. So you want me off YouTube?
I don't want you completely off YouTube. I actually think that if you stopped completely, then all of a sudden I'd have to go back over your old catalogue and enjoy that instead. But it would be a shame in a way, you know, not completely, but I want it to be very clear about well, I'm not even being very clear, am I? What do I want? Yeah, actually, off YouTube would be good, wouldn't it? What am I saying? Like, just stop. Yeah, just stop. Like if you made drab but like crap but non-insulting content, like the fact that he keeps coming on YouTube to directly like have a pop at me, like, you know, maybe that could stop. I don't know. Like, just stop. Yeah, no, I'd be all right with that. Just stop. Yeah, actually, I mean, the way you say it, want me off YouTube, but if you just stop, Alan, you know, it's like if you're in a restaurant and someone's shouting all the time. I wish they'd just stop, you know.
But it's not up to you if I'm off YouTube.
No, it's not.
Honestly, I hate to tell you that. It's really not up to you.
It's up
yeah,
to
but you're
why-
saying things we don't.
And you think it's up. What Alan thinks is up to the police or it's up to YouTube authority or something like that. But what it's actually up to is whether people give a shit and want to watch it. That's what it's up to. It's up to the audience, isn't it? And so more and more, the content I make about Alan is okay, quite long form. And a lot of people want me back on the main show and don't, oh, you're going on about Alan all the time. But to a lot of people, this is long form, interesting, analytical content. It's content. Whereas what Alan does on his show is not very good at all. So in terms of who's going to be on YouTube longer, Alan keeps shitting his own bed and people can smell it. Whereas we can sit here and make extensive videos about cleaning up the shit and people want to watch it. You know, it's a funny balance, but it's the way it is.
Like, well,
yeah, agree,
I was-
Star A's. It's the manipulation, content stealing, and grifting that he needs to stop. Yeah, those things. That would be nice. Yeah,
stupid answer, but don't watch, right?
he's not going
What
to
do you
stop.
think? Wouldn't it be easier not to watch me ever again, or spend every night of your life recording me and hating me?
I don't spend every night of my life recording and hating you, so they're not my two options. I can do what I'm doing instead, which is occasionally making content about you, reacting to you. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not going to keep making that point anyway. I've made that point extensively now, haven't I? It's him that keeps... The problem with Alan is more and more, because he's on a cycle, you know, he's not got new places to go and new ideas to have. He's on a cycle of narcissistic rage. So he will keep reiterating, repeating the same things. That's why I'm not really looking forward to this episode, which we're going to do next, is because it's going to be a regurgitation of all the same old bollocks. Like, there's not going to be a load of new stuff in there. So increasingly, I'm going to find him more and more tedious.
Which is the better life? It's not watch me. Nosy Nana knows. She's
That's exactly right, Alan. It's better to not watch you. I'd say that's what everyone else in the audience should do. I'm the only person they should watch if they want to see your content. I will repackage it in this way, and then we'll be able to analyse it. But to watch you, just for watching you, that would be a huge mistake and waste of their time. Like a huge mistake and waste of their time.
well. I know it's a stupid answer, but don't watch, right? Don't you think? Wouldn't it be easier not to watch me ever again,
Yes.
or spend every night of your life recording me
I
and
don't do
hating
that.
me? Which is the better life? It's not watch me.
Yes.
Nosy Nana knows. She's tried. Thanks, Nosy Nana. Nosy Nana, she's tried to talk to these people. She will go in and face them head on like a...
Normal person in a chat.
Well, like a what? I'm trying to think of a similar
Except she went a bit weird, so we had to block her.
thing, yeah. Evangelist going door to door.
Evangelists, like some of the people that are really interested in God that watch your show and seem to have some sort of strangely spiritual take on whether you're being bullied or not, and therefore support you on a sort of righteousness angle, even though they're completely misguided as to who is the wolf in sheep's clothing, the devil, you know, and who is really the righteous.
We try to convince people that, you know, things are right, things are wrong. But if you've got unknown malicious senders who don't even name themselves, why do you believe them? If someone's not showing you their real face and their real...
Like Nosy Nana, for example, who has an unknown, like, you know, you don't know who Nosy Nana is, and she was in our chat being, I wouldn't say malicious, but, you know, difficult to the point where we had to block her. I gave her the chance, but like, she came in as like a troll, didn't she? So like, he's there sort of describing that.
name. Why do you think what they're saying is true? Why?
You don't have your name.
They're hiding something.
You're
I'm
hiding
not
something.
anything.
No,
you
you
can see
are.
me, you can hear me.
Just because I can see you and hear you doesn't mean you're not lying.
And you can misunderstand what people say. You might misunderstand what I say. I misunderstood a lot of times. I am. So all I'm saying is really, hold back that finger or mouse before you click it.
What's he reading from?
It's effortlessly to say whatever you want. People become so confident and courageous when they type what they put in a machine.
What's he... Right, okay. Hold back that finger before you click the mouse. People can be confident, courageous. There you go. Hold that finger or mouse down before clicking. It's effortless to post or say whatever we want online. People can become more confident. Think before you click. This is what Alan's reading. Out loud, off his phone, on the internet. People can become more confident and courageous to type whatever they want to say without concern if others are affected. One can hide behind a screen and sorry, cat. Please don't scratch that. You know it. You know it. One can hide behind a screen and preserve anonymity. This idea is perhaps why many people can act rude and aggressive when interacting with others online, like Alan. Hardly anyone is policing things, and enforcement of regulations, if there is any, is minimal. Still, acting rudely online can reflect your behaviour, and it's still better to maintain discipline, honesty and respect when communicating with others in the digital world. One must be aware of what they're doing to develop the habit of thinking before clicking to post whatever one may want to say online. Think about how your posts can affect people and treat the digital world as if the person you're talking to is right there in front of you in the physical world. It's also vital that you ensure your privacy doesn't get compromised by avoiding sharing too much private info that may not be necessarily needed to be seen by others. We should be responsible for using our technological capabilities to communicate online. I don't know why he picked something so verbose, being as he's got that dyslexia. This must be tough for him. But he's reading this. It's from Morning Coach blog, Think Before You Click. It's called morningcoach.com blog, think-before-you-click. It's from Morning Coach. And he's been reading it for the past... I haven't spotted... I kept, clocking up my... Now I've busted it. And what that is copyright content theft. This is someone's actual content, and Alan has read it out on his... Okay, he's gone off the piste a little bit, so you could say React commentary, but by not bringing it up on the screen and talking about it and showing what he's talking about, he's not doing React commentary. He's taking someone else's thing that they've worked hard and written and saying it on his channel like it's just his. He didn't shout them out. He didn't say who it was. He's just stolen more content, and it's really frustrating for people who write things to have that done to them. Because, you could have at least dropped a fucking go to Morning Coach, hit like and subscribe Morning Coach. You could have at least done that. What a savage and shallow world Alan Vinicum lives in. What we're doing today on the screen, I don't know, let's open this, having never read it before. Because a lot of the time, he was making slip-ups and mistakes because he hadn't read it before. Is this where Toy Story comes in? Surely there's nothing about Toy Story in this. I can't see anything about Toy Story, so maybe that was the bit he added. It's just sad.
And I'm just asking you...
I'm going to take a quick bathroom break while he reads what I just read.
It's not a lot to ask, is it? We need to be responsible for using our technology capabilities online. So ends the sermon of think before you click, because it's indelible. And that's the word I wanted you to keep in mind. It's indelible. Next time you want to call me something really bad, remember it's indelible. And I won't do it to you. Right, on with the show. We are studying an affidavit tonight of Rex Heuermann, who is charged with the murder in the first degree of 3 people. And we're going to read through it tonight, which is going to be interesting. But first of all, I want to think about this. Something I thought of, right, when I started tonight's show. Welcome, my name's Alan. I'm the Armchair Detective. Tonight's show is very interesting. Don't talk over me, AD.
Shut up.
So
you didn't even read the full fucking paragraph of the thing I said. Didn't even read it, did he? He got to that bit and he thought, people can be rude and aggressive. That sounds like me. Probably missed that bit out. Here ends the sermon from Preacher Man AD. And now he's going to do his show. And it's not his show. It's the fucking news. It's the news.
This could be, do you believe the suspect could...
So it's their show. And he might do some talking.
charge him with the murder of the 4th victim.
Brilliant.
Both were the same. At all compared.
Charged
looks good. Oh, it's the news again.
Gilgo Beach killings. We had
the
some
news
video
again
that
then.
actually showed this.
more did he kill? How many is he going to... Well, he's not going to admit to anything, is he? He's saying, like, I'm not guilty.
Good one. Yeah, a bit like you, Alan. Not admitting to anything, not guilty. Actually went over the Rusick case in today's episode. Christ. I should stop saying it. Yeah, don't want to... Right. Don't want to be blasphemous. It's ludicrous. Right, I'm going to get off then, and I'm going to cut these, put them on YouTube, and then later on we've got this, I suppose, because people have asked for it. This rubbish. I feel a bit shell-shocked actually after, because I got up in the middle of the night and I've rolled on through now, but it was so bad what he did there. Like, so transparently bad, and to discover that it was written for him by Morning Coach, and he just skimmed it off there. Like, exposed, Alan. Battery exposed, you called us. There you are. You've been exposed. Pull your pants down again in public. Give you a little smack. Here's your naked bottom. Grifter, content thief. It's where we started, Alan. It's where we started. Grifter, content thief. It's where we started. It will never stop. So on the promise that people have, as I said, they've, tweeted me, they've contacted, people have said, he's talking about you in this one, you've got to do this one. So I suppose I will, but I am not reacting to Alan on the daily back and forth. That's pedantic bullshit. So we will get onto this one later though, and then I'll see where we go from there, because maybe I just start, putting things on file and doing a sort of monthly react instead, because it's not going to change, is it? Like, idiot's going to be idiot.